$49 million Bitcoin. That's right. Michael Saylor has that $49 million BTC as his price target for the year 2045. That's 20 years from now. How did we get there? Who is Michael Saylor's dealer? Please, give me his number. Clearly, it's great. Whatever he's smoking, injecting, snorting, ingesting, everything. He could be consuming it just by touching whatever he's on through the skin. Man, that's good. He's looking at you right now. What, you don't mean that $49 million is enough for you? Look, let's check the growth rates, friends. So it's all going to come down to the growth rates. I've made this lovely poster to show you where it all comes down to. Now, what we're going to do, friends, actually, so you have, that's the headline number, right? $49 million. He's actually got three numbers. He's got bear case is 3 million. Remember, it's 20 years, man. 20 years, friends. Okay. In 20 years, for example, the stock market doubles and then doubles again. So the S&P 500, it's what, 5,000 now-ish, right? S&P 500 is at 20,000. It did a 2 and then another 2, 4. So what would crypto be, right? That'd be huge. Yes, that'd be absolutely fantastically huge. What I'm going to do now is just show you the Bitcoin price chart, and we're going to look at it just as a clean price chart without any like indicators or anything. You type in BTC USD, make sure you have the long one, and put on a log chart. Okay, so obviously there is some sort of curvy part to this. All right, some sort of curvy part. Now, if you keep drawing it up, friends, there is a log chart that you can basically put on these. And I've just applied them right now, okay? Now, the unfortunate part is these log charts, friends, as you can see, they were working. And then like, uh-oh, we're kind of like, what happened here? This was the most devastating thing. That's why everybody got destroyed. It was at the bottom of the channel. That's why, friends, everyone in 2021 thought, hey, we're bouncing off this channel. Nah, crack right through. Goodbye. Make a new one. And they did make a new one. They actually have the Bitcoin rainbow model, which is what it is here. You see this purple line down here, friends? This purple line became a meme because this purple line had to get added because the price went down so much. It's kind of sad, right? That's what happens. This is what happens to all these models, okay? So first, oh, the blue is support. And then, we've got to add a new one. What's going to happen next? Well, if you just move on through these growth rates and you just check out where it may appear, it's very tough to at least guess even where we're going to be over and over and over again in the future. This is 2027. And hopefully we go into the yellow part, friends, around next year. So the yellow part here is $236,000. You see how in previous 2021, we hit like this orange part. Before that was the red. And even before that, we broke the model. So we broke the model, then we hit the red, then we hit the orange. Now, what's the yellow here? The yellow would be around, you know, somewhere next year, around 242K. That's beautiful. I'll take that. So I'm just showing you that even with this diminishing visual chart, before we check the numbers out, hey, man, I hope 240K, man. I hope it's on the cards. What happens if we keep rolling forward? Well, the data, I don't have it much here, but look at even this, friends. What ends up happening, though? Check this out. If you go into, like, the light green, in 2028, the light green becomes 500K. That's pretty cool. And then you can even look at the stock to flow model as well. Remember, this has to be, this was I think this was the 100K one. This is unfortunately the one that got modified, friends. This is the one that screwed everybody up. You see, we hit the line here, we never hit the line here. And then that model here's got $1.2 million. But plan B, he went back to the original model where he counts Satoshi's coins again. And that's a chart right here. Okay, so you can see this one is modified. That gray line now, it's no longer 100K. It's back down to around 50K, and we're around it now. So if we followed it up, it hits 440K as well. So I like the fact that stock to flow says 450K there now, because I think when we hit 200, people are going to go, oh, stock to flow works again, and they're going to hold. And what they're going to do is, friends, they're going to buy shit coins to price in a $500,000 Bitcoin. And that will be the final explosion of final alt season wave number 2. And that's exactly what's happened in the past. That happens with all these other assets. Now, friends, because we are talking about a $49 million Bitcoin, we're going to have to pump the music. Let's go. So he has his sheet, friends. Michael Saylor has this sheet, and if you want to know what the context is, he's speaking at the Bitcoin
My macro
Convention Center.
Bitcoin forecast, it's 21 years. Goes out to the year 2045.
Okay, so he speaks here. So here we go. Michael Chad Saylor going all in. That's what we want, baby. We want it. Now, all right, check this out. We've got 3 prices. I'm going to show you the presentation, and we can just check it out. So he's got the bear, the base, and the bull. Okay, and you can see the prices here. The bear case, 3 million, 13 million, 49 million. Now, when you look at these numbers, they strike you. They're like, what? You got to remember, baby dolls, that's 20 years, man. As I showed you, stonk market goes 8% per year, 7 to 8% per year. Yeah, so that's a 2x every 10 years. That's a stonk market growing at 8% every year. Okay. Now, that will, like, obviously shoot up over 20 years, man. Like, if we want to go back, friends, let's go and check out what the S&P 500 was in the year 2004. Remember, S&P 500 is like 5,500 now. Where was it at in 2004? We go all the way back 2004. Here you go. It's about 1,000, right? So there you go, friends. Went from 1,000 to about 5,500. See, it's around 4x. Remember, there's like, 1 or 2% here and there. It's moving around, adjustments. So you get to see that, right? So what would the S&P 500 be in 2045? Well, it's just going to keep doing this. Like, it might have these zip ups over time, but eventually get to 20,000. That's 20 years, man. And yeah, it's not like there's magic there. It's that, dude, they are literally printing the money supply 5% per year. They print 5%, they pay 3% to workers, the 2% slippage goes everywhere else, and everybody else working and stuff, they're storing their value in the stock market, and that's why you get that number. Now, think about that growth rate, okay? 8% per year. That's stock market, S&P 500. But mind you, there are dividends with it as well. Okay, so you actually make a bit more money, friends, because you get a dividend yield in the S&P 500. I think it's like 1 or 2%, but that actually compounds over someone's life a lot. Now, a lot for stock market boomers, not a lot for crypto, but it does make a significant impact by the end of your life. So once again, focus on that number 8%. So when we get a bear case, he's used around 20%. All right. The base case of $13 million is around a 30% growth rate, and a bull case is around a 40% growth rate, assumed, okay? So the bear case, the $3 million Bitcoin, he's only assumed, all right, 20% growth rate. So that's where the numbers come through. Now, I have this nice formatted post here for you. Remember, it's 20 years, course, a long time. Now, what I want to do, as soon as I saw this, I go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to just get a feel for the growth rates. Let's plug in some growth rates ourselves and then just have an idea of how it's been diminishing over time, how aggressive it's been diminishing. Okay, and I had a good feeling it was going to diminish hard. Some say hard. I had a good feeling it was going to diminish hard. You can tell by the numbers. Now, let's check it out. I've written it here, right? So he's bear 20%, base 30%. Bull 40, 20, 30, 40. Can you believe that, man? That makes a huge difference to the final number. A bear case, if you have a 20% growth rate per year, remember it's compounding every year, you end up at 3 million. But if you're doing 40%, you end up at 49 million. Wow. Not happening, by the way. I don't think that's happening. Now, let's see where we can find out some numbers here. So in the past 10 years, friends, Bitcoin went from $600 to $67,000. That is 60%. So the past 10 years was 60%. Pretty cool, right? 60% per year. Doesn't feel like it though, does it? You would love 60% per year, but it wasn't like that. It's like some years goes up huge, 8x, drop 80%. And sideways, go up 3x, drop, yeah, all the volatility, yeah? But if you hold it long enough, you play the long-term trend, which is what you want. So what I did was, friends, I checked out these growth rates myself, all right? So what I did was, so if you go to 2010 to 2015, and let's go back, we'll actually check it now. And this is the Bitcoin price. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this log, friends, because they have to keep adding the colors, right? And I've even just went on to TradingView and I've found, like, I just typed in Bitcoin rainbow indicator. As you can see, friends, this thing had to get added. So they just keep adding it over time, right? So it's always like shooting off into the stars, but then it's like curving over time. But you know what's interesting, right? If we look where 2045 is, 2045, where does this say? See, it's obviously unrealistic. It's got like a $50 million 2045 price up here. It just assumes that the rate is still the same. 120 million Bitcoin up here. Really is probably going to do like more like that. Okay, probably. Okay, still big numbers, still juicy. But remember, we're looking at 2010 to 2015. So remember, I'm going up around here. And I think if I remember, it was around 5.8 cents. So it's around 5.8 cents. See, July 2010, all the way to 2015. Think about this, by the way. Look at the big number. That's huge, huge, huge. So from around that 5.8 cents up to 2015, July, that's an enormous, man. You do a total of 4,496x. Bang, 4,496x. But look at what you're getting per year. You're getting 420% per year compounded. Crazy, right? Over 5 years, right? And then what I did as well, I looked at, okay, what happens in the year 2014 to 2019? You get 78% per year. So automatically, if you draw like a box, right, you're like, okay, wow, the first number was huge, okay? The first number was huge, right? This is 478. This is an enormous number, 478, or whatever it is, 420 for the growth rate. And then if you go down, okay, the next period, the growth rate drops down to 78. So it drops like dramatically. So you can already see it like starting like crash. And then after that, look at that, friends. The next one becomes 40%, 44. So 420, 78, 44. Okay, so it's obviously it's doing that curve on the way down. And now you get to see, right, Michael Saylor's bull case, too optimistic. Remember his bull case, friends, for $49 million, it's around 40%. So he's basically saying we don't diminish for the next 20 years. And like, oh, like that's not, no chance. I'll say no chance, man. No chance. That's literally, all we got to do is nothing and I'm a billionaire. I don't think so. So it's clearly diminishing with every 5-year period, right? So just to recap, the past 10 years was 60%. The whole 10 years was 60%. Our past 5 years, though, was 44%. Like, it's dragging the number down. And obviously, so, very, very clear, obvious diminishing. What do I think? So a lot of people have asked what I think, and I just want to show you the total crypto industry with our nice log charts, what we have here. Remember, total crypto, friends, is 2.3 trillion. And I'd like to remind you that Michael Chad Saylor, he's only talking about Bitcoin. Because obviously Bitcoin, he believes it's the way, the truth, the light, and it can go no wrong. And he really does get a kick when he hears it, friends. So he really does believe in that number. But I had a different perspective. I think instead of Bitcoin, I think it should be replacing that with crypto industry. That's what I think should be doing. Because obviously we're seeing a trend here. At the start, Bitcoin was a whole industry, right? There was no industry. It was just Bitcoin. Then we added Ethereum, right? So Bitcoin's dominance, friends, it shows this. This story is perfectly captured by two things. So Bitcoin dominance, which I'm just going to quickly show you now, right? If you look at the history of Bitcoin dominance, you see that Ethereum got birthed up here. So Bitcoin dominance used to be 99%. Ethereum comes and like, whoa, we can do a lot of things. Here comes Bitcoin, bang, and now here comes Bitcoin. It's very clear what's happening over time. Okay, you can just see this long-term trend. You can just see Bitcoin, right? So it's not that Bitcoin sucks. It's just that there are, thousands of coins trying to pick away at what makes Bitcoin special. They're always trying to pre-program things. They're trying to say, well, is it the inflation rate? Is it the decentralization? Is it the cult aspect, right? So every time there's new coins, they form new communities, and it's people who now they have an option outside of Bitcoin, and you are choosing people. You are finding people who choose that. So for example, if you like cults, You don't just have to be in Bitcoin. Now you have Hex, for example, and Pulse Chain. Even though everyone laughs, like, yes, at the prices and stuff, but no, they've taken some of that away. If you like decentralization, right? Well, yeah, you love Bitcoin, but Ethereum's focusing on that too. Okay, it's not as decentralized, but they're focusing on it. So that's people along the scale that are now moved into Ethereum. Okay, you can also represent this by the Ethereum Dominance. And the Ethereum Dominance, friends, remember, Ethereum used to be nothing in the industry, it used to be zero. Now it's like 16 to 17%. So it's taken apart. It's picking away at Bitcoin. And we can see this as well, friends. If you actually, I'll show you the chart. You can see on the total crypto, I have this beautiful table I made here for you. Look at this. Gold is 16 trillion. Stocks are 110 trillion. So if you think of altcoins as stocks, you know, where it could be good, could be bad, could be life-changing, whatever, and you think of Bitcoin as the gold, look at this ratio, man. Gold is like literally 16% dominance, 10 to 16% dominance of stocks. Now, obviously, gold people, they'll look at it at different measures. They look at it based on the money supply, but it's the same thing. Out of the money supply, I think there's 90 trillion in the world. I even have it here, 90 trillion in the world. And look, gold over cash, see, it's still like 15% of your dominance. Interesting, right? So basically, obviously, I've been talking about this for years. No one's been talking about this, by the way. So if you ever hear this from anyone else, you know it came from your friend. So I've never heard a single person talk about this. I was thinking about this in the depths of the bear market in 2022. I was putting all the puzzles together. That's when I started having these epiphanies like, oh, wow, everybody's probably going to get trapped in Bitcoin at the end again because they're going to think this is the way, the truth, of life. And I could just see the story unfold. I don't know how I could see so far into the future when it comes to this. But yes, I know all these pieces of the puzzle just came together, friends, okay? Obviously, wearing a fluffy pair of fluffy slippers and having very, very straight posture while I was thinking of this at the same time. Now, this world asset size is very important because obviously crypto's tiny, man. Crypto's only 2.3 trillion. So you can see like, man, we deserve to be much higher. But as we explore that part, you think, well, I want to bet on the crypto industry, right? Yeah, it is. It's something interesting to think about. Over time, we know Bitcoin dominance will trend down. We know it will trend down. But you got to think about intellectually, philosophically, why? It's because they're taking what makes Bitcoin special. They're like chipping away at it. Chip. Slowly, they're chipping away at it. Okay? Just like with gold, friends, obviously, crypto is now going to peel away at some gold speculation stuff, right? So, and that's what stocks were able to do over time. So you don't need to just punt on gold to speculate. Now you have all these stocks. That's where you can see that gold's value still has like only 15% of the price of gold is just utility, just 15%. The others just holding and speculating, and it is what it is, right? So we've already gone through the fact that, you know, if the stock market does 8% per year, right? I don't think it's a stretch to think of 20% per year as too high, right? That's the $3 million Bitcoin in 2045. Because you're getting about 2.5x on the stock market, but there's still something to think about, friends, there, because it's tough to just swallow this reality. The stock market captures whatever they print in the money supply plus like 2%, okay? And they're printing on 5% on average per year. So the stocks, they give you about 2 or 3% on top of the money supply, which is actually garbage. You got to think about that. So buying the S&P 500 is the only true inflation hedge long term. It's the only thing, and it's long term. Okay, so you need to hold it for 5-10 years. So there's nothing short term inflation hedge, right? That's another thing to think about. And it would be very useful. You know that whole crypto index. It would be useful if you could bet on it. But we know, if you've been watching my channel, friends, you don't want that day to come because that means we're like really late now when they actually have an index. It's just like Bitcoin ETF. Are you early to Bitcoin? People buying the ETF, man. No way you're early to Bitcoin. You see? Now, if you do Bitcoin, friends, growing at, so we looked at the numbers, 40, 30, 20, but what if like we just try to guess in the future? We go, okay, well, remember, you have been growing the past 4-5 years. It was 44%. That's your average growth rate, right? Compounded per year, you're doing 44%. So what I did was I go, well, what about the next 5 years? Let's say it crashes down harder. It goes down to 30%. What would that number give us? It is a $240,000 Bitcoin by 2029. So, but obviously we know with the volatility, right, it's not so smooth. So it's one thing to talk about this, but then it's another thing to actually live through it, right? So, man, it would be great, man, if Bitcoin went up to 280 or something, or 240 in that next cycle, goes up like everything else. Then we have that bear market, blah, 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 blah. We've got to rinse back out 100K, and then by 1029, it's like 240. Something like that. Okay, that would be 2028, 2029. Around here, it's around 240. That price chart. So I know it looks like it's amazing here, but we don't get this up part, man. We're not early anymore. You got to think about this part. How much would Bitcoin from today go to the top? Think about that. You're getting a 3x, and then it drops back down like a 60%, whatever it is. Maybe even drops down 70%, friends, down to 69K. That's possible, right? So it drops down like here, and then it starts to continue up. But that number's pretty cool. It's not just nice to know that. And then what you might want to do is you go, all right, what if after that, it doesn't do 30% for the next 5 years? Let's say it only does 20%. Where does that land us? And the answer is a $600,000 Bitcoin. Okay, so that would be by 2034. Okay, 600K Bitcoin. What I'm doing, friends, obviously, I'm just drawing like these conservative metrics. So we had 44% growth rate per year. Okay, I go, let's slice it down to 30. And then again, in the next 5 years, let's slice it down to 20. Let's do that aggressive move of how fast it's been growing. Still fantastic, man. I mean, it's still by 2034, that is $600,000 Bitcoin. And then do you want to know what I did as well, friends? After that point, I chopped it down again to only a 12% rate. And then from here, 2034 to 2039, you get your $1 million Bitcoin. Okay. You get your $1 million Bitcoin, and that's what it would look like. We kind of looks like it looks very realistic to me, by the way. And I'm not even doing anything bad. It does look, and by the way, that's a 12% rate. So you still be in the stock market. So I've drawn this. By the way, that's very, very, very low compared to obviously Michael Chad Saylor. But you get your $1 million Bitcoin. There you go. 2030 in the later stage of 2030. Beautiful though. Think how big the crypto industry is then, by the way, because if Bitcoin is $1 million, it is 20 trillion. All right, 20 trillion. What would its dominance be in that time? It might be 10%, man. So crypto could be 200 trillion in 2038. You're thinking, wait a minute, that's how much the stock market is. That's double the stock market today. No. In 20 years, the stock market will be worth 500 trillion. So we are like 40% of that. So it makes sense. And that's pretty much what it would be. Now, I'm going to play, friends, some nice cute music, right? Some bizarre music, because I think $1 million Bitcoin, I like that number, right? He's got 3 million. And you're probably wondering, hey man, what is actually the issue with like these rates? It's just, this is like just something you should know, all right? Warren Buffett, world's greatest investor, his compounding growth rate is 20%. And he did it for like 50 years. So he took like his $1 million up to like 100 billion. Now, for the past 20 though, he has just matched the stock market because he's so big. He's only got like a pool of like 300 stocks to choose from, and he can only buy them in recessions. He can only buy like 1 or 2. Okay, he can't, his size is too big because of liquidity, but 20%. Now, he always mentions he can make 50% to 100% per year in stocks when he's like buying like small stuff under like $10 million. Okay, so that's just him because he's gifted, yeah? Very, very easy for him. But that's why in my mind, I struggle with just saying someone's long-term, so not someone, everyone in Bitcoin, you just buy Bitcoin, you are better off doing that versus being Warren Buffett for 50 years. Okay, I struggle with that. Thinking about a 20-year time frame. Of course, friends, yeah, it's an anomaly. We're making a new asset class. Okay, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. Sure, I'm talking about this 2045. Now we have a Bitcoin ETF. There's a lot more people here, man. It's a lot heavier, right? Bitcoin has now, total crypto industry, friends, has 520 million people in. So Bitcoin has like, 300 million people total. So you see what I mean? I don't think 300 million people get to beat Warren Buffett in his prime for 50 years, right? I don't think they get to beat him just by like, oh, I buy this one thing and everything works like magic. Nah, I don't think so. And baby dolls, I've just had to pause my video right now because I've actually posted just that same picture right now. And I actually have the labels here, right? So this 240K, revisit 240K, don't know how it plays, 600K, and then 1 million 2038. I want to let you know that is the lowest by all of them, but it's not being a bear. All I'm doing is I'm showing you, okay, well, Bitcoin dominance, if it reflects gold to stocks, perhaps it's the same thing. Perhaps that ends up the same way and use these similar metrics. Now, what I'm really bullish on is if you go back and you check Michael Saylor's posts, right? This is what he's saying here. His base case, friends, okay, his base case is $280 trillion for Bitcoin by that time. 280 trillion. In my estimates where I get around, obviously I'm hoping, you know, you could be off by a factor of 2x or whatever. I get about 120 trillion for total crypto. Okay, 120 trillion. So you can draw like these log charts and whatever. You could show them growing up over time. Remember crypto industry, friends, used to be, man, in 2015 it was just 3 billion and then growing and growing and growing. And I just have the monthly chart here. Obviously it doesn't start from the very, very beginning because you have Bitcoin price starter that just needs to be matched here. So we can actually just see it. If it keeps going up and up and up and up and up, and remember around here, I want to let you know that like Raoul Pal, he believes like 100 trillion's coming. Yeah, I think 100 trillion's coming. Just let's get to 10 first. Let's get to 10. All right. If we can get to 10, sweet. We can talk about those next ones. And by the way, if you match the cycles, you do get to 100 trillion eventually. Big importance as well. Okay. When they do real world assets and they mint a $100 billion US Treasury note, it does not pump our bags. Okay. Yet it enters the index and it makes crypto bigger. Because you've just minted somebody, hey, this thing has $100 billion worth. Okay, it's on the chain now. It's on Ethereum. It's like in this little private fund and it deals with the US government private, whatever, their chains. It doesn't, that $100 billion can't go and start buying like Pico on Pulse chain, you know, or Dick with butt. You know what I mean? It can't start pumping up Hex. We'd love it to, but it's not going to. Okay, so it's separate. It's kind of like, oh, we're kind of like we're just like cloning them on the chain. That's not crypto stuff. That's otherworld stuff. So how does it all fit in? I mean, like I've just shown it to you right now, friends. I like doing my rates because, look, ultimately, you got to think about how someone like Michael Saylor's thinking, man. He owns 1% of the Bitcoin supply. One dude, he owns 1% of the Bitcoin supply. And even if you factor in the money printing and everything else out here, friends, let's just calculate 210,000 times his base case, which is $13 million. Okay, it's going to be crazy. He has 2.7 trillion in 20 years. You know, you can buy Australia. Do you want to buy Australia, bro? All right, give us some coin on a ledger. That's funny. Look, I hope we really do get it. I'm leaning more towards, like, let's look at these numbers again, right? Just so you can see. He's got a 3 here. He's got a 13. He's got a 49. I think it's going to be more towards closer to this. And I think this number, right? So I'm feeling it's, if you look at the total crypto industry, I think it's between his bear and his base right here. But that's total crypto. That's pretty much what I think he's right about here. Of course, nobody knows the future. Anything can happen, yada, yada, yada. But we can't even control that. The most important factor is just how much edge there is right now, friends. And a lot of people just talking about infinite growth rates and everything. Yeah, I hope so, man. The failure rate of altcoins is just insane. It's like really, 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 really tough to make it. But you got to bet your bananas that if they make a crypto index, you got to be hedging with that. That's like the S&P 500. Because what will the crypto index do, friends? Because remember, Bitcoin is not stock market. S&P 500. The S&P 500 it's a God mode index. It is only the survivors of the index. You know, every 20 years, basically companies die. Big companies, they're like great 20 years ago. They're like falling off over time. It's just like, it's literally everything is like altcoins, friends. They lose attention. They lose product market fit. The guy who makes it, maybe he's too old now, he moves on. They don't have the passion and the energy. New tech comes on. There's 1,000 variables hitting companies. It's like, that's why when you see a unicorn, they really are unicorns. I'm not even joking. Amazon, Google, Tesla, like they're truly actually unicorns. Like, oh my gosh, look at the things you survived through, right? So just betting on Bitcoin, I know it sounds crazy now. Like, oh, but Bitcoin's gone up for 555 days on this Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, bro. Of course. That's how everyone gets trapped. When that index comes, eventually index will come. But it depends. This is how early we are still to crypto. Okay, so we're not as early, but we're still early, man, because we can't even make an index yet. There's too much dog shit. We don't even have an index. What would you actually put in the index? Okay, so I'll tell you right now, you know how wrong everyone is. I automatically know. Everyone says, by the way, I'm not even guessing. They do say this. They go, put Bitcoin, put Ethereum, put Solana. I'm like, really? Really? Why Solana? Why not BNB? BNB's bigger. They're talking green candles. CC, we haven't fleshed all this industry out yet. We still need more time. People coming in, trading network effects and stuff. We're trading attention and mind share. But look at this junk, by the way. Like, would you want to buy an index? Do you want to own XRP? Honestly, do you want to own XRP? Right? Do you want to own maybe Telegram? Maybe not. Who knows, friends? Right? Do you want to own these? Do you want to own Tron? Do you want these? Do you want Polkadot in your top 100 index? Do you want Bitcoin Cash? Do you want NIR? Do you want a debt token? DEBT, debt? Right? Do you want Pepe? You probably do want Pepe. That's the funny part. You're all going to say no. Do you want ICP? No. Do you want Ethereum Classic? I mean, for an index, put that on my shitcoin side, right? Do you want Craptos? No, I don't want anything with the name crap in it. Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance. Like, bro, you're going to zero next bear market. We all know that. You know what I mean? So you don't want them in the index. But then again, just to let you know, Warren Buffett says the exact same thing about the stock market. He goes, I don't want to own. He goes, 90% of those companies are absolute junk. They're not the cheap prices. I'm not paying up for them. That's how he thinks about it. We've got to explore a lot of things though, friends. So let me know what you think, right? So you've seen this. You've seen I didn't even explore the $49 million one. I go, but negative 500% chance we're getting $49 million Bitcoin, okay? I've even saw people on Twitter going, oh, wow, so I'm a billionaire if I just wait for 20 years. They're having a joke at that, okay? I just got to do nothing. Just hold this one thing. And everybody in the world keeps putting in money. No. Let me tell you one of the great lessons from Railway Mania in the 1800s. Made a whole video about it, friends. Remember? Got a whole video for you. Railway Mania. Train stocks. Everybody underestimated competition. Okay? Don't ever forget that. Don't you dare ever forget that. Whenever somebody comes into stocks and something goes up a lot, they completely ignore competition. They give competition literally zero value. They underweight it. They believe, you'll never be able to catch up. You'll never be able to catch up. No. Okay. Never think like that. You think like that, you're a dead squirrel. You're a dead squirrel. You've fallen out of the tree and someone's going to step on you with this shoe. Okay? A very horrific death. That's exactly how everybody loses all their money. They think that's what new paradigm is. New paradigm means we win forever and the game is never going to spin again. We're never going to spin the roulette wheel again. You lose forever. No, it's a pendulum. It's a pendulum. Remember? The boat's always rocking. And whenever the boat rocks one way, everyone's like, oh, well, the boat's never going to rock again. No, another wave is going to come. That's bull markets. That's bear markets. Once you understand this concept, you can actually win. Now, of course, you don't want to fall off the horse too fast. Fall off the bull because you screw everything. But we just got to remember this for the top. Okay, so I think you're playing a very, very, very dangerous game if you honestly believe that Bitcoin can't be chipped away. I think you are playing a very dangerous game. For example, I'll just throw one thing out here. All right, Richard Hart, he even hinted that Bitcoin's decentralization stuff is pretty inefficient. Okay. And I've also heard him talk about just-in-time decentralization. Now, what would that concept be? I want you to just think about this. This might be the next 10 to 15 years where you have a fast chain, but if it starts getting attacked and it needs to basically become decentralized, the thing has like an organic switch. And it can like basically spin up heaps of nodes and decentralize. So you can't be attacked. You can't be shut down by a government. And then when the coast is clear, it goes back to being fast again. Interesting. It's like whack-a-mole. Isn't that amazing? That's literally amazing. It's literally, you ever seen that Simpsons episode with the bee baron? It's literally this, friends. That was it. That was literally it. Can't believe that episode came to my head as I'm filming it here for you. That's just-in-time decentralization. He goes, what do you mean, government? There's nothing going on here. And they try to turn off the button. Take this guy down. It spins up all these nodes. They can't do anything. So I've just opened your mind into what's possible in the future. Okay. And then you got to think about, wait a minute. So you're fast and then you're decentralized like Bitcoin. Oh. So what's Bitcoin got left? Well, you know what it has left, right? It'll always have residual value because there is only one Satoshi. There is only one Bitcoin. There is only one creation of that. It will always have a residual value. But tell that to the next Zoomer kid that likes Elon Musk and likes rockets and wants to buy Tesla. Tell that story to them and say to them, come learn about gold and silver. They were the first money and the government can't print it. They're like, boring. I'm a Sigma male. Zoomer. I'm a Zoomer kid. Whoa, got shaved head and stuff. You see, it's not gonna fly too well. The younger generation, they're moving more digital, not analog. Okay, so I just open your mind with assuming these infinite growth rates. It is infinite growth rates. Wow, this is going to grow forever and ever. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. And you know what? I might sound like a crazy person now. And guess what? I am a bit crazy. And by a bit, I mean a lot. But you see that Bitcoin dominance go down. Fast forward 6 months. Everyone's talking about altcoins. Everyone's going to be singing a different tune. Hell, they might even play my videos on one of the mainstream YouTube channels and goes, wow, let me subscribe to that guy. You already have, my friends. I'm wearing a Pokemon hoodie. None of this is financial advice. Like, subscribe, tell mum and dad. Bitcoin's going to $1 million. Catch you soon.